It's hard to be really excited about the way the Cubs played in Cincinnati, getting swept in 4 games, a lackluster effort, putting the Reds right in the midst of a red-hot streak and a wild card berth, and the Cubs, who are still in control of the top wild card spot, looking like a team that wants to back into the postseason, maybe still hung over from clinching the playoffs that took place in Pittsburgh. We're going to get into all that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. What's going wrong? How can they turn it around? Like, subscribe, thumbs up. They look like the Cardinals right now, the way they've been playing. They can fix it, though. I'll tell you why. Lisa, everybody, Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for being here. And again, we got Cubs Baseball Channel gear, and you can get it with that QR code right there. Just join Mick Nation and play. It's free and all that stuff. And we pick out winners each week. You can win money too, but you don't want the money. You want Cubs Baseball Channel gear. Maybe not, especially after the Cubs' lackluster effort in Cincinnati. They got swept. They lost 1-0 to the Reds on Sunday, a 4-game sweep to Cincinnati. The Reds are that team that finally caught up to the Mets. And guess who's coming to Chicago on Tuesday? Yeah, the Mets. And they're going to play Wrigley. And so the Cubs are going to have an impact on the wild card race. You know, they could single-handedly get Cincinnati in. I mean, wouldn't that be just sweet? There's so many things that I'm worried about right now with this team. We'll start with the offense, and I think that's where it starts. I love Hollywood Pete. I love PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong. What is going on, though? This is our friends at Bleacher Report threw that up there. Bleacher Nation, Brett and the gang over there. This is since August 1st. It doesn't factor in him in the game yesterday, pinch hitting, right? 175 since August 1st. He's striking out a lot. The weakness in his game is always going to be, until he fixes it, that he swings at a lot of pitches. He struck out to end the game. I thought maybe it could have been ball, but they called it a strike, and that's how it goes. It looked like it was right on the corner. He strikes out a lot. I think that's something that a lot of players these days deal with. But to me, it's not that. It's the fact that he swings at so many pitches. He's got to get a little bit more patient at the plate. That's something I'm sure he's going to work on in the offseason. Baseball at the major league level is a really tough grind. And we don't know if he might be banged up as well. You know, does he have something going on? I saw him, and I remember for a while there, he had like limping around. He's out of the lineup. He's back in. You know, 162 games is a lot. And he plays every day. And you get to this point of the season, and it's, you know, the wear and tear of a whole season weighs on you. And they need him to keep playing because there's 6 games left. The Padres all of a sudden are right there. The Cubs had the tiebreaker. It's a magic number of 4, which means you got to win 4 or they got to lose 4 or whatever the combination is. The Cubs had a better divisional record before they got swept. And that's the other tiebreaker. So they went, I got them at 3-3 in the regular season. And now the Padres with with a better divisional record. So what you hope is that you get in there. But the other thing is for the Cubs is that, they've been consistently doing okay, but I don't feel like they've really played consistently good baseball in a long time. And a lot of that goes back to the Kyle Tucker injury. And I'm going to talk about him in a second. Now, the other guy who's struggling mightily is Seiya Suzuki. And it was like, at the beginning of the year, he was killing it. And then all of a sudden you turn around and for the last 3 months, he's a batter that's hitting under 240, 230. I don't know what's going on with this one. When the Cubs were playing their best baseball, they were getting great production from Suzuki. They were getting great production from Hollywood Pete. And then Kyle Tucker was kind of that guy who maybe didn't put up the numbers that those guys were putting up, but he was getting on base. He was walking, and he was setting the lineup. And ever since his injury, Tucker's injury, it just seems like and I'm talking about the slide, like June 1st in the second base, and he had the hairline fracture in his hand. It's been a struggle. It's been a real grind for these guys. So Suzuki's slumping as well. I like it when the Cubs platoon him. Then you get Owen Casey, and I feel like he could have been a guy who, if you put him in there and leave him alone, he can be a spark. He felt like they didn't want to do that. Then they're kind of forced to bring him back. Then he slams into the wall, gets tripped by Pete, smacks his head. He's got a concussion. Will he come back? And is he going to be able to help? I don't know. You just never know after someone comes back from that kind of an injury, if he does it all, right? So the big three have to be big. And then we know that Tucker, we're expecting to hear some stuff on Tucker this week. If he's going to play, they're going to have to put him in the lineup like this week. You got 3 against the Mets. You got 3 against the Cardinals. So the Mets are playing for their playoff life right now. They just, basically pissed away a playoff berth. They're tied with the Reds. So now they're coming to Chicago, and the Cubs are going to be desperate to try to win some games. The offense has just been not good, not creative. They go out and they sign Carlos Santana, and the guy has 1 hit in a month. It's like they don't want to play the Ballesteroses and the Caseys when they had them. And then when they put him in there, they give you a better chance to get a hit than Santana. So I don't know. It's pretty frustrating watching what's going on. You don't have to sweep the Reds. You don't have to win. You just got to get 1 win there. And with this team going into the postseason, and I know Abbott to me is a good young pitcher, you still got to figure out a way to put some pressure on him and score some runs. But there's just games where this offense is just pathetic right now. And they got to get it figured out. I think it starts with Kyle Tucker, getting him back. And I said it yesterday, and I'm going to stand by it. Who knows if he even wants to push it, knowing that he's got millions of dollars on the line in free agency. He's going to make that money whether he comes back or not. It might not be as much, but really interesting and not a good thing. All right, Nico Hoerner, he's got to get the 305 to win the batting title, and he goes 0 for 4, and now he's batting 299. So he's got 6 games to get a bunch of hits, and the task just keeps getting tougher and tougher. Trey Turner's the leader. He's out, so he's just sitting there watching. So 305 right now, and Nico's 6 points back. Magic number is 4 to clinch the wild card. Now, I know some of you guys are like, well, we got the tiebreaker. I don't think we have the tiebreaker. I don't have us having the tiebreaker. So anyway, Cubs got to win, and they don't have the wild card tiebreaker anymore because of the 4-game sweep at Cincinnati, and the Padres now with a slightly better record. The effort's got to get better, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too before we get out of here. Is that you get this far, and it's been a good season. And it's tough in the major leagues to be successful. It really is. I think the Cubs could have used their farm system a little smarter this year. They didn't go out and make any blockbuster moves at the deadline. And I get that, hey, they're worried about the season down the road. And look, I understand that too. But they got to make something happen at the plate. I don't know how many times we've been sitting here and saying that, but it sometimes it just feels like, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to dance with who brought us to the party. I think that you got to be creative and you got to figure out a way to get some more energy in this lineup. And if Pete Crow Armstrong can't get on base and he can't hit, then somebody else can play that spot. Same thing with, say, a Suzuki. Same thing with Ian Happ. Same thing with Dansby Swanson. Same thing with anybody on the team. And I hope that, look, it was exciting to see him win, make the playoffs, but that doesn't mean that you go ahead and be hung over for 4 days. I mean, two games in the series, they didn't score at all, and they lost 1-0. We talked about the bats. Matthew Boyd hasn't been great. I thought Jameson Taillon was good again. It makes you wonder, like, what are you doing with the playoff rotation? You put your best guy out there right now. You go Cade Horton game 1, and honestly, Jameson Taillon game 2, and Shota game 3, and Matthew Boyd game 4. If you even get there, that's just off of who's been the best lately. But the effort, I just didn't feel like the effort was good enough. It's like, well, we can't hit. We haven't done this. Look, figure it out. Bunt. Put some pressure on the opposition. You can't really even run the bases because you're not on there that much. So, we'll see. Mets come into town. They're going to be desperate. And then the Cardinals. So, one day changes everything. I mean, if you win and they lose, you win and the Padres lose, and then it's a 2, and then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, you could wrap it up the next day. But, it's 4. And they've got to get to that magic number to wrap it up. You guys tell me what you think. Get in the comments section. Again, make sure that you sign up for AveD. We're going to have playoff tickets, hopefully, to Wrigley Field. That's the game plan. Got to get there first, though. So, hopefully the short flight home, people are in there thinking, hey, we got to do better. And they start to get ready for this series against the Mets and bring their best and get some momentum going into the playoffs. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys so much, and we'll do it again tomorrow. I wish this was a more positive show, but when you play like that, I mean, there's just not a whole lot to talk about other than, we're going to look at the roster on tomorrow's show and talk about some guys that are probably going to get traded or not re-signed in the offseason. I mean, that's kind of where we are right now. But I'm not giving up on this year. I just didn't like the way that effort was in that matchup. So anyway, thank you guys. We'll do it again tomorrow. Go